and welcome back to At the Movies. I'm Chris Porter,
I'm Jesse Steele.
and we just got back from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
Our first live movie so far.
and boy, was that a downer.
I disagree. I've actually loved that movie.
We're gonna have our first Siskel and Ebert debate. All right, well, let's get into it because I've said some of this while we were driving, but try to get into it. So the plot, there isn't one. The setting, it takes place in Hollywood. The movie definitely wants you to know that. It definitely takes place in 1969 Hollywood. I got it.
Yeah, it gives you a date a couple of times. There's no plot, but really, it's not like that's a bad thing. It's like there's not supposed to be a plot. The movie's just about.
And here's my point: is that's okay if you can keep me entertained for 2 hours. This movie is 3 hours long, and that's not good enough.
That's not good enough!
I would have bought this movie had you put it at an hour 45 minutes and you run it like that. 3 hours is effing ridiculous. It's not acceptable.
I say there's probably a good half hour you could cut out of the movie. Would have made it a little bit better.
You can cut out the whole movie. There is no point to the movie.
That's not true. The movie was.
There's no point. Okay, so I'll try to get into what actually happened.
Okay. Spoiler alert.
So the movie starts off with Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Rick Dalton, is trying to work his way back into Hollywood's good graces, where he's doing TV shows and he'd like to do movies and stuff like that. And he's kind of an aging cowboy star. So
they show you a lot of highlights of his good scenes from movies.
And then Brad Pitt's just kind of sitting down with him for an interview. You don't ever get to see Brad Pitt actually do any stunt work. That's disappointing.
That is a little bit sad. I would have liked to have seen more of their interaction while they were working.
He jumps on a roof to fix Leo's cable, or his satellite.
And he fights Bruce Lee. He
does fight Bruce Lee. That moment was really good. And to anyone who thinks Bruce Lee is actually a good fighter, check your facts.
That whole scene was really good. I wish they'd made it a little bit longer.
Or just make the movie about that. Why not just turn this into a Bruce Lee pick? Anyway.
Being a stunt double.
What am I missing? Margot Robbie's in the movie playing an old actress that apparently died in real life. I guess. Is that important? I don't know.
You could have taken most of her scenes out of the movie. Would have made it a little bit better.
Like I said, you take most of this thing out of the movie. There's nothing important about this movie. Brad Pitt's character was actually cool. He had a dog.
The dog was awesome.
Picked up some hippie girl that was part of a Charles Manson cult. Spoilers, but that was good. That was an interesting plot line. But they only run that for about 20 minutes. I feel like I'm rambling right now, but guys, that's it. That's the plot.
Oh no!
What did I miss? Leo does another Western thing, and he has one good moment of acting.
They take you through a day in the life of Leo's character, which is Rick something.
Rick Dalton.
Rick Dalton. They take you through a day in his life and how he goes through highs and lows throughout his day of being an actor, and how he struggles with trying to retain that edge and being a good actor. And there's one scene in particular that's really good. And then they take you through a day in the life of this kind of retired stunt double, where he just he doesn't do stunt work anymore because of inside the movie, again, spoiler alert, he apparently killed his wife and got away with it. Which
they show a brief clip of his wife, and you understand why.
I love that scene so much.
Within 10 seconds, I was like, yeah, I get it. Yeah. I get why.
It was a funny cut. I wish they'd have gone more into that and what people thought about him. I wish he was more integral to the movie, but it's weird because it's really this is two different movies, and then the movies join together at the end for a big finish. And man, the end of this movie is what really got me to love it.
The end of this movie is the only thing that woke me up, and I was like, wait, there actually is something that's going on. Just to let everyone know, we are going to spoil this movie in this review, so if you don't want it spoiled, whatever, but I'm just letting you know,
it's a bit late for that.
There's not much to spoil about this movie, because this movie isn't special in any way whatsoever. So, basically at the end, the Charles Manson cult decides they want to just randomly kill some people, so they go into...
Well, it's not that they decided to randomly kill some people. Charles Manson told them to kill specifically these people.
And then that dumb bitch in the back was like, let's kill the people that teach us to kill people.
Let's kill the people we watch on TV as kids. Kill the people that taught us to kill.
They try to break into Leo's apartment, or his house, I'm sorry, and he's in the back in the pool with headphones on, so he doesn't hear anything. Brad Pitt's like in there, like
let's not ruin the whole scene.
No, I don't care. Who cares? Like, I'm sorry, guys, if you really want to go see that movie, like, but...
You're gonna tell people to avoid this movie.
There's a cool confrontation, that was cool, but that lasts like 10 minutes, maybe. So, that's it. So, I'm gonna run down the positives and the negatives, you can do the same as well. Positives. Cinematography is beautiful. This movie looks amazing. How the shots were framed with like that, Quentin Tarantino's great at that. All that stuff was good. Acting. Brad Pitt was really good in his role. He was really believable as a guy that wasn't craving attention. He's just a stunt double. He was really good at that. Leo had some good acting parts. Overall, his accent that he was doing is weak, in my opinion. I think he needs to stop doing that and just do his regular voice. That probably would have been more believable.
You have problems with accents a lot in movies.
If they're not believable. If you can't pull it off, don't do it. That's basically the thing. Mark Wahlberg says about people doing Boston accents. If you can't really pull it off, don't even worry about it. It's all good. Margot Robbie doesn't do anything in this movie. She doesn't do anything bad. Just there's nothing in this movie. Like, they didn't give her enough. It's not her fault. There's just nothing there. And that's basically it. Those are the main people in the movie. So, like, Al Pacino's in the movie for all of, like, 2 seconds. And, like, his parts were pretty boring. So I know we're rambling, but the negatives. This movie has no plot. It's really aimless. Like, on the back of the movie, like, if you buy it, they'll probably say, so it's about Rick Dalton and his, like, him not being a star anymore or whatever, like him dealing with that. I wish they would have gone to that, but they didn't. They didn't go into that. I wish they would have shown Brad Pitt as, like, his actual stunt double doing stunts. They didn't do that. It's literally just, let's have them drive in cars that are from the late 60s, and, like, they do a really good job of, like, letting you see that you're in that time period. That is believable, for sure. But that is the movie. The movie is just, let's do a bunch of driving shots of, like, showing that it's 1960s Hollywood. That's the movie, guys. That's the movie.
So your one downside was the lack of plot.
That's a pretty big downside.
It would be if you were expecting, like...
I knew this movie didn't have a plot because I've said this before, and it holds true. If you see a trailer for a movie, and it just shows the name of the actors, and they're just doing quirky stuff like Leo Danson doing this, and they have, like, a soundtrack, Margot Robbie's doing this, and Brad Pitt's like doing that, and that's all they show for the trailer, you know the movie's not about anything.
Listen, the upsides for me, Brad Pitt, Leo, the woman was a downside. I'm sorry. I can't even bother to remember her name, Margot Robbie or whatever the fuck.
They didn't do anything with her.
They really they do a whole lot of nothing. She just goes to a theater, watches her own movie, and waits for people to, like, enjoy her scenes in particular.
Yeah.
Which was, I guess, kind of a charming scene, but there was a lot of setup to it that was just unnecessary. Brad Pitt, amazing. Definitely the best character in the show. I wish...
He was the best.
There was a scene where he...
does actual stunts.
He pisses off, like, a colt, and they stab his tire. And,
that was good.
He forces the dude that stabs his tire to replace the thing, beats the hell out of him. Bunch of women start complaining. He's like, back up or I, like, killed the dude.
I mean, can we say that, like, there's, like, 3 good scenes in this movie, and all 3 of them have Brad Pitt in it? The Bruce Lee fight scene, the ending, and then that scene.
My negatives is the movie is definitely too long. Way too long.
I said 3 hours. To be exact, it's 2 hours and 45 minutes, and I checked my phone for the time probably like 8 times.
It needs, like, an intermission. It literally is like 2 movies combined, and then they meet at the end.
I mean, I think what happened was Quentin really wanted to be like, man, like, I'm filming all these scenes of, like, I'm have all these, because, he had to pay for all these old vehicles, like, to rent them to, like, be in the movie. He had to clear streets out, so, like, he'd be like, hey, no modern traffic, because you don't want any modern vehicles being there. He had to, I'm sure some of the like, when he would do a drive-by scene, some of the buildings and restaurants, he probably had to, like, spruce them up and take out anything that was modern. So he did a lot for that. That cost some money to do that. And I think he just wanted to get all those scenes in the movie. And that's what you got. And that's why the movie is so incredibly long, is because he's like, look at all this atmosphere. Look at all this. Like, I don't want to waste this.
It is
yeah,
very
you're right.
atmospheric.
You didn't waste that. You just didn't put any plot around it.
All the scenes are really panoramic and really like picturesque. It's
look really good. Yeah.
Cinematic as all hell. Man, like, do you want to go into the rating? Because like, I feel like your rating's just gonna like completely shock me.
first.
It's weird. It's definitely not a masterpiece.
Duh.
Definitely not a masterpiece.
Duh.
But it's weird.
I'd punch you if you said masterpiece. I'd literally punch you.
Okay, it's masterpiece. No. I would place this movie somewhere between guilty pleasure and buy it own it.
What?
Legit.
All right, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Avoid this movie. Do not pay for it. And I'm being serious by it. If this movie had been an hour and a half, 2 hours long, I would have said $5 bin to guilty pleasure, somewhere in there. They're like, yeah, I'm sure there might be some scenes where like someone's like, that was pretty funny, man. That was good. I could enjoy that. Decent movie. 3 hours long, Quentin. I ain't sitting through that shit again. There's no reason why I would ever want to watch that movie again. Now, if you would have cut those little good scenes up, I can watch a 30-minute movie. Cool. 30-minute little short, like, hey, day in the life of the 60s or whatever, and these actors. Dude, no. Don't pay for this movie. It's not it doesn't deserve to be a coaster, but if someone asked me, should I go see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I would say, do not spend your money on it.
That's
How are you shocked?
Incredible.
Don't spend your money on it, Jesse. 3 hours long.
Yeah, but it was like all 3 of the hours were good.
No, that middle part, nothing happened. Don't go see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like, I'm sure you eventually will see it because you just want to know if I'm right or if he's right. I'm telling you, it's not a masterpiece. It's not one of Quentin's best films. There are people out there giving this film like an A. Chris Stuckman, I'm looking at you. You're psychotic, dude. He's bought.
It's like B, but it's still pretty good.
No. Okay, so that's it for At the Movies. I think next I have an Anaconda review for you guys. So
going back to the old stuff immediately.
Yeah. So and for tonight, the balcony is closed.